Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Shadowed City podcast. I am your host, Larry, and this is The Shadows Within. I got a few more shows to go over. Like I said, I had some stuff to do, but we will get this through. We already went through ROV and TPW earlier. Now we're going to go over GPW, ASW, TXT Vengeance, and we're going to go over DSEW. Hold on. And we're going to start with GPW Ignition Night 1 and 2. On part 1 was the Gulf Coast Championship defended in an Elimination Chamber match. And it was between Outlaw, Carnage, Ranger Rogue, Buster Anderson, and Isaac Frost versus the champion Psycho. All 6 men entered. 1 walked out victorious with the title, and that was Ranger Rogue, walking out the new champion. Alexis Lynch versus Scarlett, with Scarlett wins, but she attacked Alexis after the matchup. We had Turtle Harrington versus Blaze Vortex, which ended in a DQ after Ranger came out and attacked Turtle. There was a battle royal between Nina Schmidt, Haley Ramone, Britt Graves, Yellow Ranger, Reagan Anderson, LaShawn S., Alexis Lynch, and Mama Anderson, with Britt Graves walking away victorious. Hell in a Cell, Rob Life versus Casey Spade, with Rob Life walking away victorious. Ryan GM versus Ryan Kai, with Ryan Kai walking away victorious. There was a gauntlet eliminator. Adrian Danger, Danny Bishop, Jaquil, Chaotic, Bloodstone, Michael McIntyre, John Robb, Kando Dragon, Kenny Hull, and Ranger X, with Kando Dragon walking away victorious. GPW Bruiserweight Championship, Jack Graves versus the champion Big Lou, with Big Lou retaining the gold. And welcome Crystal Bullard, the IWA Women's Grand Royale winner. And we will be going over IWA both parts in the eventual future for a War Room. Stay tuned for that. King of the Mountain Championship Underground, Gage versus the champion Ranger Rogue, with Ranger Rogue retaining the gold. Now for Night 2 of GPW Ignition. If I could find where I put it. There was a parking lot brawl between Rome and Bishop, with Rome walking away victorious. There was a fatal 4-way between Kenny Hull, Ace Green, Bobo the Clown, and Khan, which Khan walked away victorious. Extreme Rules, Ranger Zero versus Big Lou, with Big Lou walking away victorious. And yes, there's a guy named Khan. Khan! Reese the Destroyer versus Big C, with Big C winning, but he was attacked by Bishop after the match. WWM Rising Star Championship, Chaotic versus the champion Cash Gordy, with Chaotic walking out the new champion. Steel Cage at the Phantom Eddie Walker versus Unrivaled Blade, with Eddie Walker walking away victorious. Drago versus Money Dog, with Money Dog walking away victorious. Tornado Tag, Jake Frost and Jack Frost. The Frost Brothers versus the Demon Boys, Monster and Demon, with the Frost Brothers walking away victorious. Fatal 4-way Tornado Tag, Outlaw and Ace Cannon versus King Slick and Jake King versus Lil Devil and Nexus versus Vernon Quinn and Gage, with Outlaw and Cannon walking away victorious. And to cap off the night for the King of the Mountain Championship held under the King of the Mountain match, which is the Underground, Victor Blackthorn versus the champion Ranger Rogue, with Ranger Rogue retaining the gold. Now we are going to go over ASW TXT Vengeance. 5-star 5-way matchup. Dimebag Dan versus Jay Smoke versus Jack Graves versus Mad King versus the villain Todd Wilson, with the villain Todd Wilson walking away victorious. Triple Threat, The Baker versus Madison Outlaw versus Dai Cho Chen, with the Baker walking away victorious. Stevie D'Angelo versus Damian the Punisher Briggs, with Stevie D'Angelo walking away victorious. Welcome Trevon Scott of BGW. Tyson Storm, The One, versus Reed Hicks, with Tyson Storm walking away victorious. The Badass, the American Badass, John Wigginton versus Nexus, with Nexus walking away victorious. Extreme Rules, The Madness versus Angel and Cho, with Angel and Cho walking away victorious. Underground, Killian Bane versus DMK, with Killian Bane walking away victorious. And in the main event, a 5-way gauntlet eliminator, Marcus Banks versus Kang versus Wallace versus Akoni versus Tayumi, with Tayumi walking away victorious. Now we are going to go over DSEW. Starting with Southside, there was a false count anywhere between the Nasty Boys, Bob Dole and Linda, versus Hell's Circle, Revenant and Cayman, with Hell's Circle walking away victorious. Falls count anywhere, the Berlin Walls, Evelyn Hayabusa and Emmy Hayabusa, versus Pride and Powerful, Selena Santos and Victoria, with Pride and Powerful walking away victorious. 5150 Falls Count Anywhere Deathmatch. Panty Droppers, Cesar Sexton and Adrian Dalton versus D&D, Keith Hunt and Travell Daniel, with D&D walking away victorious. Light Tubes Only, Sam and Jen versus Helga and Jen, with Jen and Sam walking away victorious. Unity Championships, Hell in a Cell, Lewis West and Crystal West versus Kachina and Ultimate Warrior, with Lewis West and Crystal West walking away victorious. And to cap off the night, a fatal 4-way tornado tag, the Wyatts, Joe Gacy and Dexter Loomis versus the Imps, Noel and Numbskull, versus the Blackhearts, David West and Ralph West, versus the Warriors, Zach and Zeke Warrior, with the Warriors walking away victorious. Now for Burning Reckoning. It was a tables match to kick off the show. Tornado tag. Helga and Jen versus the Faces of Fear, Angel and Amaya Bryant, with Helga and Jen walking away victorious. KO match between Sylvia Knight and Lucy, with Sylvia Knight walking away victorious. Steel cage pins only, Noble versus Eric Rowan, with Noble walking away victorious. Underground, Gage Payton versus Dame, with Gage Payton walking away victorious. Falls Count Anywhere, LaShawn S versus Samantha Carter, with Samantha Carter walking away victorious. Triple threat death match for the Dark Arts Championship, Plum versus the Gladiator Corey Bishop versus the champion Big Lou, with Corey Bishop becoming the new champion. And in the main event, triple threat death match, champion versus champion versus champion, Buster Anderson versus Paul Carter versus Punisher Briggs, with Paul Carter walking away victorious. And those were the shows I had to go over. Sometime this week, I'll be having the GMs for the 2K17 shows that we've been doing. We finally got done with our first week each for SmackDown, Raw, and ECW. So we will be reviewing all 3 shows incoming time, ladies and gentlemen. So stay tuned for that. If you missed them, go check them out. Also tomorrow, ROV Thunder, Asylum, February 24th. Next up, we will also have on February 28th this week, we will be having 2 shows. We're going to be having Grand Royale Part 2, TXT Sin City Massacre. On March 21st and March 22nd, TXT will bring The Pinnacle. We will also be having, that was announced for 2K26, the first pay-per-view 2K26 for DSEW, Shawshank Rebellion. If you notice the theme for the PLEs in that company, pay-per-views for that company, it is Stephen King-like theme or horror movie themed for a good amount of them. But that's what's happening. We also have MTM for TPW going to go down possibly today. If not today, in the eventual future. But that is what I had to go over, ladies and gentlemen. I do hope everybody has a great day, good night, good morning. Hold on. This Friday, I will be going over a great interview with the one and only Prince Dagon, who is the new Imperial Champion for IWF. He will be the next guest on Breaking Kayfabe, and I am honored to interview him and have him on, tell his stories ask him questions, get his thoughts. But I do hope everybody has a great day, good night, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you all may be. Peace out.